Good. Now we have talked about indexing. Let's speak about slicing. Similar to indexing, slicing follows some similar rules. First of all, when we want to slice something, we need to write it in the square brackets, right? Now, like the way I gave you this map when we wanted to do our indexing, this is what we are supposed to follow when we want to slice. So we have three parameters when we want to slice. Now, slicing itself is getting parts of a string. Now, what do I mean by getting parts of a string? So, by slicing, let's think about a piece of bread, right? So, we may want to slice a small portion. Think of your small portion as only the P, or we want a larger portion that could include both P and Y, or we want even the whole thing and then leave a little piece. So that will be from P to O, and then we leave our N. So that's how you need to picture slicing, taking some pieces of bread. All right. Now we are going to try to do some slicing over here. Now, if you look inside over here, I have a start, I have a stop, and then I have a step. Now our start is just what it sounds like. It's our starting index. So when you're cutting bread, instead of looking at it with your eyes and then saying, okay, I want from this to this, in programming, we actually have indexes to help us to do that. Yes. So let's, for an example, let's put in 0. We want to start at the very start, and then we want to stop at the very end. The very end is going to be position 5. Now, when I put in this, it's not going to do what you think it's supposed to do, right? Yes. Now, this is for indexing. Let's focus on slicing now. So I'm going to run. Good. Now, you think that I said I'm starting over here at 0, and then I'm ending over here at 5. So you're supposed to print the whole of Python. No, that's the catch with our stop value. So for our stop value, it doesn't include the ending index, right? Now, what do I mean by ending index? I just mean whatever index is in our stop will not be included. So now I'm going to include 4. That's O. Now, our O will not be added to the string. We just stop at H because the stopping index is not to be included in whatever we return. Great. I'm going to ignore this step over here, and then we'll do a few more, and then we'll get back to that. All right. Now, what you can really do too is to leave our start empty. You can leave either our start or our stop empty, and then just add a single parameter, right? Now, again, I'm going to say stop at 4. Now, when we leave our start empty, it just means start from the very start, and the very start here is 0, being P. So let's just confirm that. I'm going to run, and then again we have PYTH. It didn't change anything. So if you're starting from the very start, you don't actually have to put your 0 in here. Now, we can also do the opposite. So we can say start from maybe 1. Since when we are starting from the very start, we don't have to actually put anything. So from 1, and then we see move on to the very end. Now we'll see that our Y is 1. So we run, and then we have YTHON because we started from 1 and then we moved on to the very end. Now I'm going to leave both empty too, and then we'll see what that does. Now, as you would imagine, we start from the very start and then we move on to the very end. So that's that. Now, let's put in our other argument, and that's the step. So now we know that we want to start from the very start and then end at the very end. But we want to add in a catch. Now the catch is that we don't just move by 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, now step simply means how many steps are we taking. So from 0, we take 1 step to get to 1, another step to get to 2. That's what a step means. So we're just moving by P to Y to T to H to O to N. But when we say something like 2, it means we want to skip by 1. So if we skip this, by the time we are here, it means we have moved 2 steps. That's simply what it means. So we move this, skip this first step, and then we go on the second, skip this first step, and then we go on the second. So you can already imagine what we are going to return. Now I'm going to run this, and then we can see we just returned PTO. PTO. Now that's the value for our step. Yes. Now I remember why I actually wrote this line. So When we wanted to access our last position when we're doing indexing, you could see that we wrote something like this, right? Now this helps us to access our last character. So this just simply means we want to go into our Python string and then we want our n. Now we can use this same principle to reverse our string. Yes, you heard me right. We want to reverse our string. So we start printing from the end to the start. I hope that makes some sense. Good. So now we just want to change our step value to -1, and that's going to reverse our string. And now you can see we have, I'm not going to try to pronounce this. We have NOHTYP. No, I actually pronounced it. Yeah, bite me. So NOHTYP. So that's slicing in Python.